Um, all right. Can you hear me
Yep.
Loud
at
and
the
clear.
table? Awesome. Okay, so Mike, I'm just gonna have you still be chair.
Okay.
Just off site. I'm just gonna make note that Councilmember Chad Halt is uh, attending by Zoom, and board commission park chair Mike Wagner is also by Zoom.
Hey, whatever I am. I
Yeah.
You're special, Mike.
don't know. And
Mike, do you have the agenda in front of you right now?
I do have the agenda in front of me.
Okay. So you can get going then.
All right. Yeah, let's call this meeting to order. February 9th, 2021 of the Mayor Park and Rec Commission. Anybody, did everybody have a chance to go through the agenda and look it over
Hey, Mike. Eric just got in.
yeah,
So
see him.
we'll let him
Sorry
get
about
we'll let him get settled
All right.
for a second.
Eric.
Hey.
So we
you
have
doing?
Chad and Mike by Zoom for various reasons. So I was having some technical difficulties, so we just started the meeting. So we're just
Yeah, you haven't missed a thing.
we're just
So-
at
No worries.
Take your coat off, get comfortable.
Thank you.
So we're just at approve agenda. Mike, I just have one change to the agenda.
Okay.
So we are gonna be taking off Lions Club tonight. So
All right,
will
we are taking off the
remove
Lions Club.
Lions
Okay.
Club. Okay.
Perfect. Everybody else have a chance to go through the agenda? Anything that wants to be added or questioned?
Mhm.
Nope. That's good.
Can I have a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of the Lions Club?
I'll make that
I'll make that
motion.
motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Hold on. Did that work?
That's fine.
Perfect.
Meeting minutes from January. Did everybody have a chance to kind of read through those? Anything that they saw that they'd like changed? Any questions on anything that we had discussed?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from January 12th?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? One. I like this hitting the table thing. All right, let's move on. Let's get to some new business. So we are skipping A and moving on to B, I take it.
We are. So tonight I just want to go over, re-go over our 2021 goals and long-term plan. So as you know, every year, at this time, we kind of re-review our goals because, the city, we do a long-term plan that we update annually. And so what we do is we do an assessment of kind of what got done last year, what didn't get done. At the end of year 2021, 2020, beginning year 2021, we kind of see where our budget is at. And then reassess again what we did, what we didn't do, what's shifted, and then we kind of re-look at our priorities for the next 5 years. So it's a document that is a guiding document that gives us a picture in time. It changes every year, and it's not like if we say we want to do all these projects this year, sometimes things happen and we don't get them all done. And so then we kind of reevaluate and update the document. So I will be working on that. Tonight we're going to have a discussion on what our priorities are, and then I will work on updating that document with the financial advisor, and then I will bring that back to you guys for one more review, just to kind of give you a look, kind of what we think the next 5 years will look like. So with that, I did provide you with priorities that we established, I believe in 2019. We had a work session where we kind of highlighted what we wanted to see at all the parks. We can do at a later date too, kind of re-look at that document. I just wanted to give you an idea of what was talked about in the past. And then I also provided some information on page 4 as to the projects that were done in 2020, the big projects. Obviously, we had some smaller projects in there too, but some got pushed off to be finished in 2021, and that's the basketball court that's been approved by council for Discovery Park. The basketball hoops at Blue Jay and Discovery Park, and then Meadow Park, just getting the phase 1 of the skate park out on site. So those are going to be completed in spring. Just with staffing changes and COVID, some things happened at the end of the year where we weren't able to complete those. So, and then another thing that's kind of coming about, I don't know yet if it'll impact our budget or not. That's something I need to figure out. But with the 2021 street reconstruction project, that includes 3rd Street. And
Yep.
so we want to, during that project, bid it out to include parking along Blue Jay. So we think it would be good to have parking at the park. It's something that the Park Commission has wanted for a long time. So parking for the park, but also it kind of provides more parking for the downtown area as well. So that's going to be included. Again, I don't know how that's going to impact the park budget yet because we're still working on finances on the whole project, so that'll come back. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up because it's something the Park Commission has looked at.
And it's probably not very many spaces, right?
I think it's going to be about 10. 10 is
Yeah, I
what,
think we discussed like 11 overall or something. So it was like 9 to 11, I think, when we went through the preliminary.
yeah, I think the preliminary plans, which I will bring to everyone because the engineers in the process of putting that all together right now. I'll bring that back to the Park Commission for review. I think the very preliminary number was 10 that they could fit in there. Might
Okay,
be more,
yeah.
but I think that's where it's at currently. And then I just provided some information too about historically the park, within the last couple years, we started levying extra capital money for different areas. Like we have a capital levy for streets and parks and fire department. And so usually we've had 100,000 go in for the park each year. This year was just, I don't know, just for a lot of different reasons, our growth for the city was just not as much as the previous years, and so our budget, we had to kind of pull back a little bit to make sure we wanted to keep the tax rate stable, and we even were able to reduce the tax rate. But yeah, we did pull back a little bit on this capital funding. But with that, I want to let you know that we're going through our audit right now, and because of COVID funding and some other things, usually we reassess where the budget's at, and any money that's left over that we didn't spend in our operating fund, like the stuff that we didn't spend, we can look at that and we can take that money and we usually shift it into our capital accounts. So I should know by the end of February how much was left over that we didn't spend. And then I'm going to bring it to council and we'll probably shift part of that into the Park Commission Capital Fund. So we should see an increase, in that, our capital fund. So, and then I just wanted to let you know too that the current capital fund sits at about 382,900. So that's a fund that we've really put aside for long-term projects. Again, we're trying to build it up each year, and like I said, I do expect more going into it this year. So with that, sorry.
So is that, so basically like the Discovery Park basketball court, that would be paid out of that fund?
Yes, yep. So it would be, it would be paid out of that because that wasn't paid for in 2020.
Sure.
Yep. So that's where that would be paid.
So with the basketball court and then, pretending we're not going to get any additional funds from the audit, we're looking at somewhere of like, for 2021 forward, we're sitting at like 390 or something like that around there.
If we didn't move any funds from the operating at the end of the audit, we have about 382 in our kind of our reserve fund, and then we also have 50,000 in our regular fund.
Okay, I'm understanding. So
Yeah,
the
it's kinda
capital-
confusing.
The
They're
capital fund of 100 or 50,000 is that's our operating for, or basically what would be our operating for the year.
Yeah, like 4 capital items.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the park capital fund is a separate fund that like just, if we had anything left over from that 50 at the end
It
of the
would
year,
go
we
in there.
shift it in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
totally understand
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
that's
so that fund from last year to this year did grow a little over just about $21,000. So, from what I have on record from last year, we were at 361.
Yeah, and I have to do some other entries as well because we just received some baseball fund donation in the amount of like 6,600. But then we also get revenue as well from the tower
The
that we
tower?
rent
I was
out.
going to ask about the tower, where that, if that still sits with that or not. So,
Yeah, so those are some entries that are going to be done probably within the next couple weeks. So I should be able to update you with a new fund balance at the March meeting.
okay.
Yep. So with that, I know that's a lot of information. On page 5, this was our last year's plan that we had put together.
Didn't we have a more updated one when we were looking over the budget in like August?
Yeah, and I should have given that to you. That was a spreadsheet that we created.
Yeah.
Shoot. I should have given that to you guys. I can send that back to you. I wonder if I could send it to myself quick and pull it up. Well, it's kind of hard because everybody's disconnected. But yeah, I guess the main thing I wanted to show you is kind of what we've accomplished in the since that document was created. So we did get the Westridge parking done, skate park phase 1 done. Yeah, you're right, Melissa. This is gonna be hard. 'Cause
Yeah,
it has,
I'm gonna see if I can.
and then Discovery Park, we got that done, and so we got a lot of our, a lot of medium-sized, large projects done last year. I think no matter what, I think the one thing I wanted to talk about for sure, and I included that information back in, was the bathrooms for Old Schoolhouse Park. I know when we did this project, I think Mike, you were on the commission only at that time, but I did include the bid information. We wanted to create this pavilion with bathrooms and a shelter. We bid it out. It came in way over what we thought it would come in at, so we rejected the bid. But I wanted to have a discussion on if we wanted to possibly look into rebidding it out this year, maybe differently. And I know, and I don't know if that means recreating what it looks like, maybe scaling it back. I know there's been discussion in the past where we just have the bathroom separate with like maybe maybe a separate pavilion close by. That's
What if-
similar.
What if we would include it with like this splash pad project? Could it possibly be cheaper doing both at the same time?
One thing, that's a good question. The one thing I could possibly look at, is maybe financing both of them together.
Right.
That's something I just have recently thought about, because I think the way we've been approaching this in the past is having the funds available all ahead of time to
Yep,
pay it all
that is
with
absolutely
cash.
it.
But then I was thinking recently, it wouldn't hurt to kind of bundle maybe the two larger projects together,
Right.
and maybe finance these projects where we would just levy,
I
let's
just don't
say,
know if the city council wants to do that.
right. We would have to probably have a work session with them to see if they're
Yeah, because
interested
that's
in that.
something that they've not been fans of doing in the past.
Right.
I mean, the thing is that it's a good time to do it. Interest rates are really low,
Absolutely.
which is like way different than it was 3 to 4 years ago, especially 3 years ago when we looked at this. Yeah, interest rates are low.
It,
And I
it just seems to me it would be a better idea to add those two together with all the plumbing and, everything for the splash pad. They could do the bathrooms at the same time. I mean, it would make total sense.
Yeah.
Well,
It
but
kinda
they are in
seems-
total different areas of the park more. I mean, they're close, but they're not in the same exact area. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Chad? It's
Right, but you're still going to have the people there doing it, I
Right.
guess.
right. They're on site. It's not another setup fee. It's not
Right.
some of those other fees that come along with that. I agree.
And what about possibly, I mean, we're talking the splash pad being like a recycled water use
Yeah.
pad. Could that possibly work then for the toilet? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if just having it farther apart is going to be that big of a difference, but is that a possibility as well?
Maybe.
You can
I don't know.
flush toilets with gray water or harvested rainwater, but I don't think that
You can't
the
recycle.
the projects I've been involved on where we've used rainwater for flushing toilets. You're never going to save money. Is
Right.
basically
Okay.
it's
I wasn't sure.
if there's grant money available, or something like that, then it's maybe a possibility. But the money savings isn't there for
Okay.
toilet flushing. I think you're definitely going to say, definitely it's probably a good idea for the splash pad itself
Yeah.
or whatever. But
Yeah.
I think also like just to consider from the council's point of view probably is that just with the way that the political climate looks in the federal level, like it's likely that we might actually see some infrastructure investment happening like in the next few years, and that's only going to drive construction cost inflation probably at a higher clip than
Right,
traditional
higher than
inflation.
what it has been.
Right. So
Right.
I think, the combination of low interest rates and like the fact that it's likely that, trade stuff might become more expensive just due to that is something to consider. I mean, that's a what if, but I think in my mind it seems likely. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we've done this, we've recently financed part of a new tanker with the fire department. I mean, this is an option that we can look into.
Right.
I think it's just things have changed in the last 4 years. Like Eric said, we have lower interest rates. We do have, if we can get these two projects going at the same time, I would say, we could look at what our debt, like a debt schedule would be, and I feel like with our current capital budget pool, that pool of money and what we plan every year for levying, I feel like we'd be able to make it work. So it's kind of one of those things, like, we keep pushing these projects down because
We do.
we're waiting for the right time, and we're waiting for the money to be there. But I really think it really makes sense to look at this right now, at least as an option to finance it over. I don't know. It could be 5 years. It could be 10 years. We could look at both.
Now,
I agree.
Or like we've
when
been
we
collecting.
first had these plans come out, and I don't, I still look at this thing and I think it's way overkill. I think
Oh, yeah.
this is way more than what we need to be looking at for the city of our size. Not so much size wise, but material wise. I envision something more like what's in over here in Westridge Park, the pavilion, the pavilion thing that we have down there. More of a steel structure, steel roof, simplified bathrooms. All this brick and everything else to me is just, and I said it when we first got this thing rolling, is that this was overkill. This is just more than what I was planning or hoping to see. Now, I don't know if
Right.
anybody else feels that way, but I don't know what it would take to possibly reach out to see what it would take to have the company that does the pavilions in the other parks do a larger structure. And if we can incorporate something of a different product for the bathrooms other than the brick and the heavy brick and mortar look.
Yeah, I can look into that. I mean, I agree with the pavilion. I think we can separate that off. Yeah, I'll look into what our bathroom options are. I want to make it, like, I want to create,
Even if it was still one structure, I mean, a structure similar to what we have here, just maybe we don't need to be so industrial, so to speak,
Right.
with the brick and steel, is there a way that we can, I've been to other parks where they don't have these grand, to me, this is like a grand,
yeah.
huge deal. And I'm just envisioning something much simpler, I think.
Yeah, well, like, what do you think about, I mean, I feel like the main purpose of this structure is to provide bathrooms for people who are at the park.
And the
But
splash
also,
pad and-
yeah,
Shade, shelter,
what,
a place
yeah.
to congregate, that was kind of the original thought, people possibly being able to use it for gatherings or, which we can't do a lot of right now, but hopefully in the future we can. We wanted steel, like a stainless steel table with outlets, so that if people wanted to serve food or have some sort of event there with a meal or whatever that they could. When we first came up with this idea, it was kind of looking towards assisting with the Mayor Rising Community Festival. They don't have a lot of shaded area to be seated in. Well, this would provide, I think we were looking at like an area that would cover like 8 to 10 picnic tables. Well, that's quite a large area, so can we, we were looking to kind of incorporate that with the Rising Mayor Community Festival, have the bathrooms there for that, these kind of things. And like
What
I
do
say, in
you-
my mind, the brick structure is just a lot. And if I'm wrong, please tell me.
Yeah, I would be open to other materials. I just want low maintenance
Right,
Right.
materials. Like, I don't want something that we have to paint every couple years, like if it's wood.
No, I don't want anything like wood. That's why I was I like the pavilion down here in Westridge Park. I love that structure. Steel structure, steel roof, very simple, very basic. It's all powder coated. Eventually it's going to have to be touched up, but that's not for, 15 years or so. you know?
What do you think, like, for the bathroom part? What if we did, like, two, I don't know, I'm just thinking outside the box, like, two unisex big bathrooms, and then, like, a, like, area with changing stalls. Like, they're just stalls, like, where,
If you're gonna put
But
in
we
the
I
might-
would
splash
agree.
pad at the same
With the
time.
splash pad, that is
Yeah.
something that we probably will need.
I was
Right,
gonna ask that
exactly.
question to it. So did you say that they're, not having a map in front of me, are they, this would function as a splash pad facility as well? Or
no,
Yeah.
that would, yeah, like, the splash pad would be, a separate area.
Okay.
But the bathrooms and the pavilion would be kind of like, next to it,
Okay,
so that they
Well,
would
Eric,
all,
the bathrooms.
it would all kind
the-
of go together.
Yeah, the bathrooms in this pavilion is set to sit where the old Public Works building is there, right
Okay.
across from the playground.
yep,
And then the splash pad we had up more towards Blue Jay Avenue.
okay.
Yeah, I
So
think
they
it would be in the, where the kickball field is, and
Right,
then we'd put a
right, we're more where
fence,
that
make
baseball-
sure there's a
that-
fence.
Yeah, kickball field is, so they would be there together. There would be some separation. We got to keep space open between the splash pad and the playground in order to access the well that sits behind the playground. So we have to have access to get trucks and whatnot back there. So that's kind of where this was, we envisioned having this sit where, like I say, the old Public Works building is there. We put the tree in, the Christmas tree. We had put there the holiday tree, whatever, with in mind of possibly having like a brick patio type thing that connected the trail to the pavilion. Went around the tree, something that was a little more decorative, and that's kind of the original vision of it. So
But
these things are
restrooms,
meant to change.
will they be open
so-
year round?
No, I don't think,
Because I don't know with the ice rink if.
I should let me look into that, like if we could do,
Because then maybe they would have to be brick and not like a steel.
yeah, like maybe we could do like since it's pretty close to the ice rink, maybe like a little, why is my mind not working? Warming house too? Like make it what do you think? I don't know what
I think you still need a little warming house down there.
Yeah, because you can't walk from up
Yeah,
top
you
down
want it
below
right
with the
next-
skates.
you want it right
There's
next
just no way to do it.
I wonder if we could do a year-round one, because right now we have a porta potty.
I mean, you could do, like, you can insulate, people have insulated garages, steel on one side, insulation, steel on the other. It's a, stick building,
Right.
2x4, 2x6 construction or whatever. You could still, you can insulate it just the same. It's just like how you're gonna heat it and all that too,
Right,
if it's
right.
gonna be year round.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely look into it.
Yeah, I kind of think that if you were looking to find a way to build this cheaper, having it be a year-round facility is probably
Yeah.
going in the wrong direction. But if that's a
Right.
priority, I personally I love to use the rink. But
Right.
most of the time when I'm down there, you're there for a couple of hours, just because it's cold out. You're there for a couple of hours. It's probably the longest most of the time, and then you're ready to go home. It's not very often, I think, that people would use that facility. I'm sure it would get used, but I just think it would be.
Kids down there, like,
Sure,
I
sure,
can
okay.
for them.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, could we explore estimates from like RAM buildings and things like that? I mean, that's all steel construction and
Yeah, I just have to check with the city planner, because we have to make sure we're meeting our own city code.
Well, and that's true too.
Oh, true.
And maybe
Sorry,
that's why
yeah.
it was designed the way it is. I don't recall if we could do something other than brick, because I think that there was something with the brick.
The zoning.
I
code.
really don't remember. It's
Yeah,
been-
I
on the
just
board for
know we
so-
have, like, in the industrial park, if it's like a steel structure, a certain percentage has to have like a nice brick facade on it. And so, yeah, so I would have to look and see if there's what the public park Park and Rec area requires for building code, or not code, but standards.
Now, is this something also that we were going to discuss with the Lions?
Yeah, so
They had
that,
any interest in
yeah,
know.
they were gonna come tonight and kind of give us an update on where they're at. I know, the last conversation I had was that they do want to continue to work on a partnership.
Okay.
But even with that, like if we did move ahead with these larger projects, maybe maybe we would just we would still look at them contributing in some way towards these projects. I don't know, we could figure that out, whether it's they donate so much money each year and that goes
Towards maintenance or
maintenance
whatever.
or
Well, and they said too, they can hold events for fundraising for a specific cause.
right,
So if
right.
we have this, I think people may not know that we're talking about doing a splash pad.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that'll get some people to donate that otherwise wouldn't know.
Yeah, I think so they wanted to kind of give us an update on what their plans were for the year or kind of what their goals were. But yeah, I know they're still interested in that partnership. But yeah, they unfortunately weren't able to. They called and said they weren't able to make it tonight. So
Okay. I guess the other question I do thinking about this is when Kyle gets back,
right.
can we speak to Kyle and see how he feels about this structure?
Right.
This is something that Public Works is going to have to handle and maintain and take care of in the future. And maybe he doesn't want a lesser of a structure. Maybe this is something that he finds would work best for them.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't answer that for him. So,
Yeah,
I
I think there's a lot that we still need to figure out. I think
Oh, yeah.
definitely, I think we're gonna have to do a joint workshop with the council, probably, and I would say Public Works would be at that meeting as well, and just kind of,
Right.
Because I mean, I see the pathway lights going in as the same time as the structure that we're already running power to, because that would make sense. They're already there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that are going to go hand in hand and would be cheaper to do all at once while they're
Right.
there to do it.
Yeah, you save on mobilization costs.
Right.
That too.
right, yeah, so it would be not just kind of designing the building, it would be, okay, so getting this all pieced together,
Right.
like a splash pad, the lights. It's kind of like getting a site plan for this whole project put together and
Right.
somehow figuring out I would have to figure out one financial, but also do we need to how would we bid out this project if it has separate
Right.
parts to it, because we would probably, depending on how much each part of it costs, I don't know. So there's a lot that I'd have to figure out still. So
Okay.
Right.
With
Well, maybe we
financing,
just
though,
bring it back. Maybe we don't look at going out for bid right now until we can narrow some of these questions down.
yeah, I think
Right.
the next steps, I think what I'm gonna do, if you all agree to move forward with looking into this, I would probably start doing some research, but then maybe try and schedule a workshop with the council and just make sure everybody's on the same page to move forward with this.
Yeah. Figure out what kind of building types are allowed and
Yeah.
if we can do like a RAM building or if it has to be, a specific brick or.
with the financing,
Mhm.
we go for that this year. Does that have to be spent this year? Is that
No. So what we would do is we would have to, okay, how do I explain? Yeah, I have to figure out kind of, usually it's spent after the project is done. So we pay contractors while they are building it and constructing it and kind of completing it. So we would have to figure out, like, what's this whole project is gonna cost, and then what we do is we then work with our financial advisor. They kind of put it into a package, and then they'll put it into a bond, and they'll sell it. And so then we'll get that lump sum from the sale of that bond, and then we will then be able to pay the contractors back. But no, it doesn't have to be spent this year.
But if rates go up next year and we do the project next year, then it's like we can't.
I can talk to the financial advisor. Usually, yeah, we need to get all this like stuff figured out. Usually we don't sell a bond until we know exactly what the bids come in at. If we do, we need to narrow down the final cost before we sell it. And so,
Yeah, because we're looking about $500,000 here. with
yeah, it would
everything.
probably be $500,000.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, I can start working with him on what his thoughts are on how to approach it. Yeah, there's a lot I kind of have to sort out, I think. But I think I could probably get this figured out, and because I mean obviously this is would be time sensitive if we want to get going on this.
Do you have enough direction to work with, Maggie, or ideas?
Yeah, I think I know the different pieces that I need to start getting in order to bring this to a workshop.
Okay.
So if you all agree, I will start putting that together, and then I'll probably reach out to you all and hopefully schedule something at the beginning of March. Maybe? Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
sounds
I mean, if we can make that work, that'll be great. If you need more time, let us know. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep you updated, but let me just reach out to all these different people and see if I can put something together that will, because there's always so many timelines that work
Right.
together, and I just gotta make sure they're all gonna match up and it's even feasible to do this year, or if we need to push this to next year, but do everything this year, but then build next year, or if
Right.
it's feasible.
I don't believe we'll get this built this year. I just don't. I don't.
Yeah.
I think we've already missed that window for this particular year. But I do think that if we can get things moving and get things in place, we can possibly accomplish this next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's going to be a lot of planning, and unfortunately, government has a process, and it can be slow. So it might, yeah. So I should have a better idea, though. If it's probably likely going to be next year, but I think we can get all of our ducks in a row this year.
Do we have preliminary, so we have basically 100% plans for what we did take to bid
Yep.
for this facility. Are there, has there been, design been done for the splash pad, or is it mostly conceptual level?
It's just conceptual. So I did reach out to a company, Landscape Structures in Delano, and I don't think we have to bid that out because I think they work per state contract. I'm pretty sure. But I know when we talked to them,
Yeah, is that who came out that time and put the presentation on?
yeah, I think it was Landscape Structures, in Delano, because they have their own facility in Delano, like a splash pad. So yeah, they came out and they did a presentation, and that included the recycling water system, and we were thinking at that time that it would be about 150 to 200 to put in a pretty decent size one for our community. But the nice thing about when they presented that, they gave us options too, that you could buy different shooting heads.
Sure.
So it doesn't have to stay the same every year. We can be hey, let's buy a new spouty thing, or let's change it up this year and we'll just take this one and
Swap it
replace it. So I think it had some flexibility as far as what we could do with it and expansion. But I think like the phase one that we were looking at was about 150, 200.
Yeah, that's kind of what I recall.
But I would bring that, like some of those designs back too.
So what happens if we do all this work and then interest rates get so high next year that we're not going to be able to finance? Then we're pushing it out another few years.
No, I mean,
You could build one or the other. I mean, the
Honest-
options still exist to pay for one or the other in cash if we still have.
yeah, like I think we're sitting really well with cash. I mean, we could even pay some of it with cash and finance the rest.
Yep.
I mean, I think there's a lot of options. I honestly, like, I don't think it's gonna, I'm not a financial expert, but I don't think it's gonna like go crazy. I hope not. Just
It
with
just seems like a
kinda-
lot of work was done a couple years ago and then
yeah, that was at a really different time though. I feel like
Yeah.
things were. I don't think when we did it, it was. I think I don't know. Like it was kind of in the middle of when I started, and so I think part of it was like, oh, we just gotta bid it. We'll see what happens, and I think I have a lot more information now than I had then because I was again coming into it when it was already kind of done, and then.
Yeah, you kind of came in on the tail end. I mean, you weren't here for a lot of the preliminary figuring of any of this. I mean,
Yeah. I think like the whole
we had
building
worked
was
on this
already
back when Lou
designed.
Wayne was still here, so that was,
Yeah.
quite a while ago. I mean, I think we've been working on this for the last 6 years that I've been in.
Yeah, and I just think like every time I think of a project and I bring it to the financial advisor, we do go like I think I understand our like the I mean not I think I do understand our budget a lot more, and right now I can ask them too about trends, what they think. Obviously, there's always things that could happen, but like right now, everything that they're telling me is why would you spend the cash if you can finance it at such a low interest rate? So I think it's just something to look into, and even if we're making a lot of assumptions right now, but I think
we've
it
also been holding on to that money for so long and the taxpayers have been paying it and not.
yeah, it's kind of like we keep waiting and waiting, and I think it just makes sense to look at it in a different way, and
Right.
because I think once we get these big projects done, I really don't think we have any bigger projects for a really long time that we want to focus on.
We could levy less than 100 grand.
We could cover enough to cover our payment and then a little bit more just to cover like our smaller projects that we want to accomplish.
I think generally, like, big construction stuff like this doesn't usually get cheaper to build unless you're going to make design changes. So
Right.
if it is a priority, we should make that case to the council and kind of get their point of view. But that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I think it's
Well, I
definitely.
totally agree. Like I said, we've been working on this for 6 years. This has been kind of my goal is to get this in here. I just feel that that building that is there is just, it doesn't fit with what the end vision of what I believe people in Mare want, right? So I think we need a structure where people can meet, can gather, have facilities for them. And like I say, we've been working on this for 6 years now, at least 6 years. And we come back to this same circle. So yeah, we got to figure out a different way to approach this and a different way to do it. So
I joined the council commission to get a splash pad in. So it's
No, I think, I think just at least considering looking into this approach to see if it'll work makes sense. So, if everybody agrees, I will at least start the process, and we can always reassess when I get it all put together and see if we want to keep moving forward with it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, there's really nothing to make a motion on tonight. I think,
No,
Yeah, not real, no,
let's just move
no.
forward.
And then we'll, with that, it's that kind of leads to a lot of uncertainty with our long-term plan stuff too. So
Right.
I think maybe we should just wait until March to talk about the rest of that too, and just to see if we have a better idea where this is at before we go into that, if you agree.
right.
Would we have our meeting with council before?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we would have that meeting first, and then we can come back as just a commission and talk through it more.
Okay,
So,
good.
cool.
All right.
All right. That's exciting.
Staff updates.
Staff updates. Okay. So we do have, well, I have to figure this out. So we do technically have a vacancy on the park commission. So I just have to figure that out. I did, Troy Condon has been on the commission for quite some time, and I guess, like, I had reached out to him to see if he would resubmit an application. I didn't get a response, but I did recently hear that he wants to submit an application again. So, my update tonight was gonna be that we do have a vacancy, and I was gonna repost it, but if he's interested, I did give him that option before, so I just have to look into that if we'll just refill him or reappoint him.
And then if not, then you'll post it?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, then I would repost it and then see if we get any applications again. Ice rink, so Public Works, as you know, they've been kind of out and about doing their ongoing maintenance when they can. I did check in with them today. I know Brian went out there to shovel it off. He said the surface looks okay for now. But that they'll probably get out there again at the end of the week, just to keep it usable for now.
How is it, Eric?
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
they said the surface was pretty good yet. So.
It was a little rough a couple
Yeah.
of weeks ago. Like, I think they just had some crazy weather.
Right.
So there's a couple craters that were maybe a little sketchy, but
Yeah.
I think since then they've been able to get it much better. So yeah.
Good. No,
Good, good. Good to hear. Thanks
Um,
for being our ice rink,
Yeah,
you
no
know,
problem.
our man in the know.
oh, yeah, they've been working a lot of off hours to get
Yeah, they have.
that maintained. So, but I know it's important, and I think it's a good kind of community space. So we want to keep that going. Park sign. I actually just talked to Kyle about this today. So me and him are gonna sit down and we're gonna rediscuss the whole signage, because he kind of told me that he feels that we should just replace the signs completely, based on kind of what he's seen in other park communities or people. Like, he's reached out to other cities or public works departments, and he likes some of the designs that they put together. So we're gonna sit down and talk about it more. I just want something that can be updated at little cost every few
Right.
years, because I don't want our our signs to be outdated so quickly. Because, like, information just changes so quickly, and I think that's what we're running into right now. So I just want something that you can pull the sign, like the internal or the middle part, and replace it pretty cheap. But yeah, so
What
update.
about like vinyl lettering on it? I mean, even if that gets wrecked in the weather every year, it's not that expensive to.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna work with a sign company. Yeah, like that will, I don't know. We're gonna put some ideas together and then bring it back to you. But my one thing is that I want it to be replaceable. And yeah, cheaply. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
Okay,
Um,
that's it. Reasonably. We don't need to be cheap. Let's
Yeah,
just be
like I still want them to look good. I just don't want it. I don't want to have to replace the whole structure
Right.
every 3 years.
exactly for sure.
And then spring projects, like I mentioned before, the basketball court is a 2021 spring project that'll be done, and then the phase 1 skate park is gonna get done in the spring, and just have to wait for the weather to cooperate. And then I will keep you updated too on the 2021 street project, and yeah, a lot of good stuff going on. So that's all I have.
Okay. Anybody have any other things that they need to add or discuss?
No, sir.
Well, if that's all, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Do I have a
second.
second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?